Over the years, Minecraft PvP has grown to be pretty advanced, especially with the addition of Mace and Crystal. If you wanted to start Minecraft PvP but don't know where to start, this video might help you out. This video will be split into 4 sections: mods, settings, servers, and basic mechanics. Let's start with the first section where we will discuss the perfect mods for PvP. Before we get to adding mods, we first have to pick a launcher. There are many options, however my personal favourite is Modrinth, for its easy to understand approach to adding mods. A link to download the Modrinth launcher will be in the description. Once you've installed Modrinth, you want to go over to create new instance, name it how you choose, and I personally prefer to play with Fabric on version 1.21.4. And then once you've done that, you want to click create. Once you create your mod pack, you should get a little pop-up that says install content. This is where you're going to find all of your mods. Now I'm going to switch over to my main mod pack and explain what each mod does. The first mod is Apple Skin, and this mod allows you to see your saturation, which is crucial for gamers that require healing. The next 2 mods work together, and they are Yuku's Armor HUD and Armor HUD Numbers, and they allow you to see your armor's durability to the left of your hotbar, which can be extremely helpful in gamers that require armor mending. The next mod is Backdrop mod, and it allows you to change fire height and shield height and a few other rendering mods, and I highly recommend it if you're interested in playing on SMPs. The next mod is Better Shields. This mod allows you to see if you can use your shield or not, and it's really helpful in shield based game modes. However, this mod is banned in a few testing processes, so just make sure before using this in a test. The next 2 mods are Crosshair Indicator and Damage Tint Plus. Crosshair Indicator makes your crosshair change, indicating that you're in range of someone, and Damage Tint Plus tints the enemy's armor when you hit them, making it more clear. The next 3 mods are Hero's Elytra Optimizer, Hero's Anchor Optimizer, and Marlowe's Crystal Optimizer, and these just make the 3 items listed client-side, allowing for them to work as if you were low ping, regardless of your ping, as shown as this server being NA and I am EU. The next 2 mods are Shield Fixes and Status Effect Timer. Shield Fixes just fixes any inconsistencies within the shield, such as shield disabling sound might not play, and Status Effect just shows the time left on your potions. That draws us to an end of all of the mods. However, a few of these mods require dependencies to work, so I'll put them on screen now. Once you've added all of the mods to the mod pack, you're good to launch the game. Okay, you're gonna have to bear with me as I'm doing this voiceover as I go. So once you've loaded the game, you want to go to options and then the FOV slider. Now, most people use 90 to about 100. However, I personally prefer 105, but just play around and find what FOV you think works for you. Same with mouse sensitivity. Find your DPI first. Like, DPI is very important. Find what mouse you have. If your mouse has a mouse software where you can change the DPI, I recommend that, because 800 DPI will feel different to 1600 DPI, assuming you've made the sense on Minecraft to match the both. One feels smoother than the other. It's all personal preference. Some people prefer higher DPI with lower sense, and other people prefer low DPI with higher sense. I personally use 1500 DPI with 42 cents, as you can see. It's regarded relatively high. Most people around 1500 DPI use about 30 cents of what I've seen. I think Codified uses 1600 with 28 cents. I might be wrong on that one, so don't take my word. But Minecraft, genuinely, as long as you can do like 180s like consistently on your mouse pad, if you can do about 3 180s on your mouse pad, your sense is pretty good. You don't want to have a really high sense, otherwise you can't aim, because it is generally tracking based. Minecraft's generally tracking based. Like, you're not really flicking, which is why I will never understand how Marlowe uses 2000 DPI with 100 cents. I just will never wrap my head around that. You want to have raw input on, because if you have it off, it's like mouse acceleration and it can throw your aim. But keybinds don't really matter as long as you can, like, well, actually I'd take that back. Keybinds are like the most important thing. They matter the most. You want to have keybinds that you can press. These are mine. If you want to copy mine, But just like the FOV and sense, it is really personal preference. I can't really give you keybinds to use. You can copy mine, but I use Q, 2, 3, E, 5, the side mouse button, R, F, C, X, and then 4 for my inventory. I use Q instead of 1 because I've got really small fingers and I can't reach. Like, I got little baby hands. But just have a play around and figure out what works for you. Sprint, no, yeah. You want to have sprint on toggle. I don't know why I have it on hold. I don't know why that's like that. You want to have sprint on toggle. Always have sprint on toggle unless you have a mod that always has it turned on, which I think I have. So yeah, and accessibility settings, view bobbing, that's personal preference. I don't like it, but I recommend if you do have view bobbing, use a mod that makes it so just the hands like bob, not the screen. Otherwise, it will throw your aim off a bit. So I recommend getting one of them if you have view bobbing on. Distortion effects, this is like nausea. I personally have it off. Darkness pulsing, that's like from the Warden, and blindness effect, I have that off. I have damage tilt on 19%, although I'm going to put it up to 20 because that's annoying me. We need to have even numbers. FOV effects, that's like if you splash a speed potion or start sprinting, your FOV changes. I recommend turning that off. And I think for the most part, that's the controls and settings done. That's the controls done. But now you're probably wondering, where will I train? Now, apologies if you're not from either North America, Europe, or Asia, as my server knowledge kind of only really stretches across those 3 regions. For North America, the servers I believe to be good are mcpvp.club, na.mymen.club, play.pvplegacy.net, na.catpvp.xyz, and west.catpvp.xyz if you're Western. For Europe, the servers I often play to practice are eu.mcpvp.club, eu.metalmc.vip, eu.minemen.club, turtle.net, eu.catpvp.xyz, and fadedmc. Time for the last region I know, Asia. Good servers are asmcpvp.club, as.catpvp.xyz, as.minemen.club. I don't really know much about Asia servers, but I do know that these 3 servers are still really good. So now that you've joined a server, how do you play? For this video, I'm only going to go through the basic 3 attacks and what you'd use them for. The first of the 3 hits is a sprint hit. In order to perform a sprint hit, you want to be sprinting and then hit your opponent. However, after every hit, you'll need to stop sprinting and then sprint again. This is called a W tap, and this is used to be able to hold consistent combos. The second of the 3 is a critical hit. This hit does 50% extra damage, and to perform this you'd have to be falling, so this is often done by jumping and then hitting as you're falling, or using vertical knockback to perform, and this is often called a punish crit. However, you cannot be sprinting, so most people let go of W before they hit. Before we move to the next hit, I'll quickly cover punish crits or P crits in more detail. A punish crit is where you use vertical knockback to be able to crit, and allows for you to be quicker and more discreet rather than jumping. The last of the 3 is a sweep hit. This is by far the worst of the 3, and you want to avoid doing these types of hits, as it doesn't do either any extra damage or knockback. And this is often done by not resetting your sprint when you sprint hit, or standing still when you hit. Another technique often used is called a jump reset, and this allows for you to take a minimum knockback by pressing your spacebar just as you get hit. To begin, the timing to this is very difficult to get down, but once you've learned it, it becomes really easy. If you want to practice these 3 hits, you can either do 1v1s or practice them using the Theobald the Bot practice map, which will have a tutorial linked in the description to download. Or if you're NA or EU, fullwin.gg and na.fullwin.gg's practice bots. Another key feature to PvP is aiming, and I highly recommend using aim labs as that's what I've used to help improve my aim. Now that you've done your mods, settings and mechanics, I believe you're ready to hit the battlefield. Now, the 2 most important things to PvP is practice and mindset. You won't get good if you don't practice, and you won't get good without really wanting to improve. I know this video was pretty basic, and I didn't really cover anything, but this video was intended for those who have never really PvP'd before. However, I will go into more depth on the different kibs as I attain low tier 3 in them. But let me know if you want me to cover sub tiers and the other lists, as they don't really get many players. Well, if you did enjoy, please consider joining my Discord, liking and subscribing, as I'm trying to hit 50k by the end of 2026, and we are really far. But until then, I'll see you in the next video.
K, night sweats, it's 103. Radio playing the